Impeachment on the top of everybody's mind here in America these days. Boys, if you could impeach anyone in sports, who would it be, John Henry?
I want to impeach whoever that guy was that came up with the analytics. I can't stand that guy.
There's one guy.
I can't stand that guy.
Gil, impeach somebody.
I'm going to antagonize your friends in College Station and say, impeach Jimbo Fisher.
There you go.
How about every stinking referee? Bring on the robots. I'm tired of the zebras. PressBox DFW Live, alongside two venerable Metroplex sports writers, is John Henry, it's Gil Leberton. Good to have the old gang back together again. John Henry, how are the horses cutting these days?
They're cutting well. And I tell you what, it's also important that you get a good bail bondsman.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you have a story to tell, or
No,
what?
just, when you're not away for 2 weeks, rumors get started.
This is very true. Yeah, I accused you last week of stealing my laptop. I don't know if you saw
I thought
that.
he was suspended for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I did too. Talk to HR. All right, we're all together this week. It is Season 3, Episode 5, PressBox DFW Live. And so much for 16-0. The Cowboys marched into New Orleans to Gil Leberton's glee and got just snuffed. The Cowboys lost an NFL game in which they do not allow a touchdown, and that's really hard to do in today's NFL, which all the rules are geared towards scoring. How did this happen?
Well, they only scored one themselves.
That offense didn't even look recognizable, though. We talked about the first 3 weeks. They were scoring 30 points. They were opening it up, and Dak looked so comfortable in the pocket. And this looked like the ghost of Scott Linehan came back and said, let's vanilla, let's be predictable, let's run on every first down, let's not throw any passes over 10 yards. Is that what you guys saw? That's what I was yelling at my TV.
It looked like it resembled a playoff game to me as far as the play calling. They got like you said, very conservative, very tight-lipped, and I kind of liked it myself.
Why did you like it?
I'm tired of the Madden football out on the.
You enjoyed 12-10.
I don't mind it. If you're able to score on defenses like that, you're pretty good. It's
just strange in the NFL that a team wins without scoring a touchdown. We'll look at some of the highlights here from Sunday night in the Superdome. Gil, the Cowboys were 69-3. They've been playing football for 50 years, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
69-3 was their record when they didn't allow a touchdown. How did this happen Sunday night?
Means nothing. I mean, that kind of record means nothing. How did they do in the season so far? They beat three.
We talked about that, yeah.
They beat three minor league teams virtually. The only team that had won a game that they beat were the Giants. They faced look, just a few weeks ago, before Drew Brees got hurt, people were saying that the top two, maybe three teams in the NFC were the Rams, Saints, and Cowboys were bidding to be in that group, but certainly in the NFC, the Rams and the Saints. Saints have one injury at quarterback, granted a major one, and suddenly, I was listening all week, and it was funny listening to the media and radio and TV here. Cowboys will win this by 10 points, 14 points, whatever. It was like the Saints had nothing beyond Drew Brees.
They have nothing,
forgetting that they had
Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. He is one of the 5 best players in the NFL. It's a big loss.
Saints had, and I said this here last week. Saints are a complete team.
Yep.
Have a defense. They have a secondary. I kept hearing this stuff. Even Cubby Walls gets on TV and says, "Well, the Saints secondary is terrible." Well, we saw how terrible Amari Cooper did against them.
Got shut down.
And it's just, I think they discounted the Saints totally.
I
think they
right.
got out-coached terribly in this game. Sean Payton did it to him again, came up with a perfect game plan for his backup quarterback, and they won the game.
It wasn't that Bridgewater played that well. I mean, the Saints
No.
didn't score a touchdown. But
Right.
you're right about the Saints secondary because Amari Cooper could not beat Lattimore's man-to-man coverage. The Cowboys didn't throw any deep passes.
No.
And they shut down Zeke.
Pass rush.
Usually
The pass
opposed-
rush bothered them.
The pass rush was a factor in Dak's face for the first time this season, and he didn't respond well to that. And this looked like a game from last year when we were saying fire Linehan, and now Linehan's fired, and we're still dusting off his playbook. This was just ugly.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I don't think it helped that
This is the last
Gallup
play of the
didn't
game.
play,
Yep.
and I don't think it helped that Amari was. I won't.
He's out there. We
banged
can't
up.
give him excuses. And
out there,
again,
but,
Michael Gallup's not. He's not a game changer.
If Cooper's foot was hurt, he shouldn't have played.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not making an excuse for him. You're right. He's out there, but if you're not 100%, you're not 100%. And I think Gallup has shown that you're going to have to account for him on the field. And it's true that they played the three nobodies there to begin the season, but they also did what they were supposed to do with those teams. If I'm the Cowboys, I feel pretty good about it because you're right. You got out coached, you got out played, and you still were in the game. And with a questionable, fourth down decision just at the end of the half, they might win that game 9-2.
Yeah, I didn't mind that the Cowboys are not going to go 16-0, and losing to the Saints at the end of the year is not going to be a bad loss.
Saints are good.
But the way that they lost, the way that they tried to be so conservative on offense was just troubling to me because we had anointed Kellen Moore. He was going to be the next Norv Turner with his offensive genius because what we saw the first three games, and that just totally regressed. I mean, again, the Saints get credit for locking down Amari Cooper with single coverage and for putting some pressure on Dak, but that doesn't change the fact that you should still run the plays that worked the first three games. And I just didn't see the same philosophy. It looked like a different game plan, and that troubled me.
Where was Tony Pollard?
He didn't touch the ball.
Where was Zeke Elliott?
Well,
I mean, the Cowboys did have fumbles by Zeke and by Jason Witten. When's the last time we said that in the same game?
Rarely.
That's probably never going to happen again.
Did they even target Pollard out of the backfield? I don't remember.
I didn't see Pollard.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't see.
But Gilda, what you're saying is, and I think you might have tweeted this or wrote it in your column, that Sean Payton with a backup quarterback has now won on the road against Seattle and at home against the Cowboys.
They have beaten.
That's going to look really good on their resume at the end of the year. Could the Cowboys win 2 games with Cooper Rush? There's no way.
The Saints are 3-1, having faced quarterbacks Sean Watson, pretty good, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. Cowboys are 3-1. They've faced Eli Manning, lost his job. Case Keenum lost his job.
Benched.
Josh Rosen had replaced the guy who lost his job, and Teddy Bridgewater, backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Who's got the better resume?
No elite quarterbacks in that group. I mean, Eli's going to the Hall of Fame, but currently he is not elite.
But people, to listen last week, I got to admit, I got to chuckle out of it, especially on the radio. To listen to people talk, this was a walkover. This was, the game ended when the outcome was determined in their minds 3 weeks ago when Drew Brees went out. And, Cowboys were going to go at least 14-2 and whatever.
Right.
And now, of course, this week, all the hand wringing.
Panic
Right.
set in.
Kellen Moore's terrible. Garrett must be fired. Zeke shouldn't be paid. Dak probably shouldn't be paid.
The Cowboys, I've said this before and written it before, the Cowboys don't play 16 games. The Cowboys play 16 seasons. And we dissect each of them as though it's not a game. It's people got to be fired or given a raise based on the one game. So in the big picture, John Henry, is this a red flag? The Cowboys are in trouble, or is this just a hiccup on the way to a successful season?
Well, I think they're going to have a good season. I think it's a hiccup. I mean, like I said, I thought that they should, 12-10 loss. It's not a bad loss, I don't think, considering what they were playing.
I think you're right.
And that's it. It's not a bad loss. Right. I mean, the Saints are going to be in it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If they get through this little stretch in the first half without Drew Brees, they got a good chance to go 14-2 and be in the thick of things.
Yep.
But keep in mind, if it's a tiebreaker, Cowboys go back to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who dat better than who dak Sunday in New Orleans? The Cowboys host the Packers on Sunday in their next season that we will break down and analyze next
Gotta
week
win
here
that
on
one,
PressBox DFW Live. Catch our writing daily, PressBoxDFW.com. Watch us and or listen to us right here weekly every Tuesday, PressBox DFW Live. Next up, Cowboys lost a game, but which player could they least afford to lose?
Welcome to today's pregame meal, which is what? I had something last
Apparently
night.
it's just water for me, and then you guys got bobbleheads.
No. Yeah, we have bobbleheads. We're all about the swag.
There's my bobblehead.
We're all about. We've collected the swag. I should have brought it. The Rangers had a real nice
What'd
piece
they give
of
away?
swag on. I guess it was Saturday night. No, yeah, it must have been Saturday night. They gave to the people a replica of the scoreboard from the day they won the pennant for the first time. It even had the old down the right side of the scoreboard, the one atop the home run porch.
Yeah.
The hit this sign and win a suit.
Yeah.
That Chuck Morgan
Sure.
had put up there, and it was a little replica of it. Nothing great, but just a nice little memento
cool.
of the stadium. So it was nice.
Yeah, I wrote last week my memories of the ballpark, and that's one of the coolest pictures I've ever personally taken. I was sitting in left field, took a picture of the center field scoreboard right when the last out of the 2010 ALCS, when it said not hello win column, but Mark Holtz's characteristic call, hello World Series, which
Yeah,
was very
yeah.
good. The confetti falling is really a cool moment.
Pretty awesome.
Do we want to talk about the ballpark right now?
If you can, sure.
I was there all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and
Look at
they
you.
put together a nice deal all 3 nights. Friday night, well, this is the last of the photos. Ziggy, if we can go in reverse order. The other one on Friday night, they had their final fireworks show.
Yes.
The final fireworks Friday, and they showed a video that I thought that just captured the essence of the place. The video showed not just everybody identifies with the A-Rod caught looking and
Yep.
Naftali jumping into Benji's arms and all that stuff. That was Saturday that we have there. Hang on a second. But the video showed like Juan Gonzalez's soaring drives landed in left field. We forget that before there was Josh Hamilton and Joey Gallo.
Oh, yeah.
Juan Gonzalez was a pretty darn good player. And then it had another sequence where it showed you Pudge throwing people out at second, picking people off at first.
From his knees a couple times.
Just
Yeah.
one
Like
after
throwing
the other.
marbles down there.
And
yeah.
it was, you realize, what a weapon he was. It just had a lot of the great moments, and you start to realize that just how many the ballpark had accumulated in just 2.5 decades.
Yeah.
Saturday night, they turned off the lights for the last time. They had a real nice deal where a guy dressed as James Earl Jones, the Field of Dreams, James Earl Jones,
Yeah.
came walking in from right field, and a guy stood at home plate in a uniform that wasn't a real player, and the alleged laser came in. The batter swung and hit
What a
hit a
theatrical
laser beam to
performance.
center field, and then the center field supposedly the lights, just like in the natural, the
Right.
lights exploded, and then the fireworks show began, and
And that was representative of a player from 1994, I guess.
I don't know.
Or 1884.
But they saved the real surprise. There's the fireworks show, and whatever, but they saved the real dramatic stuff for Sunday, and the big surprise was they. I think it can be told now. They wanted Nolan Ryan to throw out the final pitch.
Yes.
Ray Davis, owner of the team, wanted Nolan to throw out the final pitch.
Sure.
So somebody was enlisted to call Nolan, and wasn't me. And Nolan
Or
said,
John Daniels, I presume.
no, it wasn't
Yeah, I
John
don't think it was
Daniels.
John
It
Daniels.
wasn't
Good
him.
call.
Hey, remember me? No. And Nolan at first wasn't sure if he wanted to do it, but there were some negotiations.
Why? Okay, hold on. Why would Nolan have second thoughts about throwing out the final first pitch in the ballpark's history?
I don't know. I think
Is it
everyone needs
John
to ask.
John Daniels lingering rift.
Maybe plus
He never threw a pitch in this park, though, right? He was
No, never. He never.
Okay,
He never pitched in the park.
but he was a part of the. He's the president of the teams that went to the World Series.
Well,
in
you
this park,
certainly
so
could say he was the guy who, quote unquote, built the ballpark.
He sort of has a statue out in center field. Last
That's
time I
right.
checked, so
That's
it's
right.
But he agreed to do it.
Okay.
And but then he remembered that there was that he had his foundation or something had a golf event on Monday morning, and he had a dinner on Sunday night. So his son Reese came up with the idea: why don't y'all have him throw the first pitch on Sunday, and then he can get back to wherever, Alvin or wherever, for the golf
Okay.
tournament. And so they flew him into Arlington Airport on Sunday morning, and the original plan was for him. Can you imagine what this would have been like? He was going to come out the bullpen door, the bullpen gate, and walk to the mound. Unannounced. Well, they
Yeah.
were going to say, and now, ladies and gentlemen, if you
People
turn
would
your
have
attention
went
to the
crazy when they just saw him coming out.
as
Yeah.
it was, the ovation was huge. I mean, people were it was like there was some closure there.
Sure.
Even though Nolan
Yeah,
has
there's probably not.
nothing to do with the pitcher's mound at the ballpark, but
Right.
still, it was a really nice moment. And then all the Rangers that were on hand, they had named the all ballpark in Arlington team,
Right.
and a lot of those guys, because the ballpark's so young, a lot of those guys are still playing.
That's what struck me about the whole
Yeah.
weekend festivities.
Not able to be here, but because he had to pitch today.
Was
There's two old timers.
Yeah.
It was just great seeing those guys, and they all had their little stories, and couldn't believe that the place was closing, but they all got great ovations. A very nice Mike Napoli, who the fans started chanting Napoli. It was
Yep.
really neat.
Had some great
Hasn't
moments there.
shaved since he retired.
still have his
clearly.
World Series beard from 2011.
Yeah, and
What struck me about watching all this and writing about it and remembering it was that ballpark doesn't need to go anywhere. It's still
It
not
still
only
looks great.
functional, it's still beautiful.
It is.
And
Still
does it have a
state-of-the-art.
couple of good memories? Yeah, but when you think about Wrigley and
it's got
Fenway,
more than a couple. It's got more than a couple.
But I'm just
I
saying,
realized that this weekend.
Wrigley and Fenway are like snickering like 25 years. I think they have memories. I mean,
Yeah.
History? Huh.
right. It's just, I don't know. We talked to TR last week and he said the new place is going to feel like a building, maybe not like a ballpark. And I just hate to see this play. I mean, I know Bob Stoops and his XFL team is going to take it over, but it made me sad. It wasn't a, boy, this place is great, but it's time for it to go. This place is great, and it's not time for it to go. It's still beautiful and functional, and the, I don't know. It just bothers me.
You know what happens though? Owners and the Cowboys did this, and I guess to some extent.
But Texas Stadium, I was like, this place is great, but it's time for it to go. It was dilapidated. This place
my
is
point
beautiful.
my point is that when owners decide that there's another community, and around in the Metroplex we have multiple communities that all want to be the next Arlington, the next Frisco, the next McKinney, whatever, the next Aledo, and they all from all my friends in Aledo, and they there's the boobs there, and as soon as they find that another community would want them,
Oh, yeah.
it turns into a bidding war.
Sure.
And why did Arlington do this? Why did Arlington let the Ranger owners get away with this? Because they were afraid to lose the Rangers. They didn't want them to suddenly become the Plano Rangers. Well, there's no room in Plano, huh?
Right.
They would have been the McKinney Rangers or who knows, the Flower Mound Rangers. I guess Frisco's all filled up now.
The Alito,
they got
the
the
Alito,
The
Rangers.
Alito Rangers, right?
The next Alito arrangement.
I don't think they would have put him. I don't think they would have put him at the extremities of either side. But
That's very cool.
And
I did. If I may interrupt, real quick, I loved what happened on Sunday. I thought it was great. I watched it from TV, but I thought the final pitch was quite anticlimactic. Well, I wanted. I wanted to see George W. Bush throw out the final pitch, which would have been appropriate, I think, considering he was the managing partner of that group that got the stadium built. And they might even asked him. I don't know. And he's probably begged off, knowing him, but
I don't know. He was, of course, there. Him and Laura were there.
Yeah.
I thought it was real nice that Rusty Rose's widow was
there?
there between her. Everybody thought, gee, Tom Schieffer's got a new wife. No, that was Rusty Rose's widow that was in between him and George W. And very nice. It was great to see him. Great to talk to Mayor Richard Green there. And, he made that point, too, that, it's sad to see a great ballpark closing. But at least the Rangers are staying in town. And that was kind of Arlington's attitude about it. And owners are going to do that. I mean, do you think the Dallas Mavericks will be an American Airlines Center forever?
No. He's already talking about building another place.
Right.
That thing's been open what?
And so,
years?
2000.
Get in your bids now.
Yeah.
Alito. Irving might
hear that, Alito? Get in your bids now.
Irving might want to. We got the Dickies Arena. I just want everybody to know.
Kennedale,
the worst side of town.
yours.
Kennedale Rodeo can have that.
Right.
All right. Well, farewell ballpark. We hardly knew you. All right. Let's talk some Cowboys. What do you mean lose a player?
If any point should have been driven home to the Cowboys fans on Sunday night, it's that, boy, you better have a good backup quarterback, at least a proficient, efficient backup quarterback. The Saints paid a lot for Teddy Bridgewater, $7.5 million for him to sit on the bench and go to meetings with Drew Brees.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what are the Cowboys paying Cooper Rush?
Not $7 million.
So I tried to figure out who are the most irreplaceable Cowboys right now, and I came up with a list of 5. So who would y'all put at number 1? It's pretty obvious, huh?
Dak's number 1.
Of course. Number 2.
I would go with I'd go defensive side and say DeMarcus Lawrence.
I think I would too. Yeah,
even though they have other pass rushers.
They have other pass rushers, but the drop off from DeMarcus Lawrence to number 2 is,
I think so,
even more than Zeke to Tony Pollard in my mind.
Travis Frederick would be my choice.
Yeah, he's up there for sure.
Either him or Tyron. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when he was out,
you saw Tyron get hurt, went out one play, and
I've
I've
got Tyron number 3
Okay.
after that. Who would y'all say would be 3rd, or in that mix?
I'd have Zeke in there.
Really?
He's led the NFL in rushing. There is a considerable drop off
To Pollard.
You have to defend them differently, I think, when you have Zeke in there.
By the way, I looked it up. Tony Pollard was only on the field for 2 snaps, had 0 touches.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah, John Henry. Why didn't you use him more?
I don't know.
Well, where would y'all put Amari Cooper in this list?
Well, you only got 5, right? Mm-hmm. See, I think I'd go back to defense and go to one of the linebackers before I'd go with Cooper.
There's only one linebacker that I consider irreplaceable this year, the way he's playing.
You're down on Jalen, aren't you?
I am. You saw Taysom Hill.
I did.
Beat him to the corner.
Absolutely.
He couldn't catch Taysom Hill.
I don't know.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
There's something going
No,
on.
but Leighton Vander
Yeah, he's
Esch
great.
is playing.
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
great.
dog.
When he gets his hands on you, you go down. He doesn't always
Right.
in the backfield, but he doesn't miss
Right.
tackles.
He's strong. He takes up a lot of space.
Right.
He's quick to the edges.
Cooper has changed the offense, though. I'd put him in my top 5. Mm-hmm. He's
with
the
him
play calling has changed, but also the attention that he demands is left guys.
with
like
him missing from
Blake
the
Jarwin.
attacks Sunday.
Yeah.
It really hurt them.
Yep.
It
There
just
you go.
crippled them.
It's those 5, and then the rest of their players just a bunch of guys to me.
Right. even
harsh.
more than the secondary and
It's harsh.
the rest of it. Yeah, well, I mean,
Like I said, I think Gallup gives them something. I'm not saying he's top 5 by any
You better
stretch,
not
but
say he's top 5.
I don't want to see them
But-
lose anybody because I want to see where this Cowboys team can go. I mean,
Right.
with all pieces in place,
Right.
let's see let's see for Jerry Jones, who probably doesn't have too many more trips to the DL
Right.
ahead of him.
And there's a lot of teams that say they can't lose those top players on their roster, but there are other teams that have the depth to
Yeah.
be able to handle that. Do the Cowboys have that?
But
If you
know?
did the Saint, if we were doing
Right.
the show in New Orleans 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and said what's the top 5, Breeze would have been 1 through 5.
Yeah.
They
Right.
lost him and they're 2-0 so
Well,
far.
I don't know. You saw what Alvin Kamara
Yeah.
can do.
Every time I watch him, I think he's more productive than Zeke. He may not rush for more
Well, I think
yards,
he is too,
but I
'cause
think I'd rather have him because he's a better pass
He can do-
rusher.
he can do
I mean,
some-
better receiver,
Right.
better
Yeah,
player.
I think Seattle was surprised by him the week before too. He's very elusive. The way he twists and turns, and he's
yeah.
got great balance and,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. But there's a reason why you overpay for a good backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys have made that mistake already this year that they haven't paid sufficiently, and they better hope. Everybody says, Dak needs to run more.
He's giant. He's durable.
He is.
But you're right. Let's don't even go there. All right.
Yeah. So
Cooper
it's-
Rush.
Cowboys
Cooper
are
Rush.
not headed to 16-0. Are the Cowboys even the best team in the Metroplex? John Henry will tell us no, but who is next?
Is that team SMU?
I can't believe we're saying this, but SMU is back for the first time since '86, right?
Ranked for the first time since 1986, and 5-0 for the first time since 1983. Now, if they get to 6-0, you're talking about Eric Dickerson.
I was about to say we're Pony Express territory, right?
It's 1982.
Boy, I did not see this coming. Did you guys?
no.
I mean,
No.
when I heard Shane Buechele was transferring, I'm like, good for him. But he was a statue at Texas that took too many sacks, and he can throw a good deep ball, but he's like needs a rocking chair, and he's not going to get that in SMU. And good luck. And I'll be dang,
I've
got that
always
team on
liked
fire.
Shane Buechele.
sure, me too. But
I thought he was adequate. I thought he was good at Texas. Obviously, I think Dellinger's a better quarterback.
Clearly.
I think, but and he has made a big difference. Anybody will tell you that. But they also got very fortunate with a couple other guys, graduate transfers that they brought in. One of them was a guy who was riding the bench at UCLA named Brandon Stevens, who they've converted into a quarterback, and he's been very, very good. And the other is a guy named Richard McBride from Gill's SEC country. He was at Auburn, a linebacker at Auburn, and this is a guy who made several phone calls. This is SEC last week against South Florida, and they just took them
he
apart.
mopped the floor with South Florida.
And really surprised me. I made a mistake of picking against taking those points that South Florida was getting.
You didn't get nearly enough, my friend.
And they just like you said, they wiped the floor with them.
Is it going to be possible that we look back at the TCU 3-point loss to SMU and say that's not a bad loss at the end of the year?
Well, I didn't think it
Which
really
at the
was.
time
at
it
the
seems
ti-
crushing to lose the iron skillet, but
I didn't think it was at the time because I thought I'd seen SMU a couple of times and I thought they were pretty good, which again makes my South Florida pick all the more stupid. Because when I saw them play TCU, I thought they'd play TCU well.
Well, how many times in recent years have we seen what we thought was a decent SMU team go on the road against a good team in conference
and wilt in the second half because of the
yeah,
depth.
and get blown out in the
Right.
second half?
Yeah.
Right.
And so they still had to prove themselves on the road against a good conference team, and they just blew this team.
I mean, it was only 3 years ago
Oh.
SMU set Division I records for most points allowed per season, and I mean in the season and per game. They were allowing 55 points a game 3 years ago. Not that they have Doomsday Junior, but
No.
they allowed 17 points to South Florida. I mean, when's the last time SMU gave up 17 to anybody?
Well, and they've got 25 sacks this year, leads the nation, and they had 25
That's-
all of last year
Wow.
in 12 games, which ended shy of a bowl berth. They lost to Tulsa, who they've got this weekend at Gerald. I always want to say Gerald R. Ford Stadium. It's Gerald J. Ford Stadium.
It's Ownby Stadium to me.
Yeah, well, how many games you see at Ownby when you were a kid?
Couple.
They weren't playing at Texas Stadium yet?
They did play. The Pony Express played at Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had never seen a game at Ownby.
It was
Stadium.
a soccer field for
Right.
when they renovated it. Anyway, yes, it's Gerald R. Ford now.
Anyway, SMU has surprised a bunch of people. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I didn't even think they'd beat Arkansas State.
I picked Arkansas State in the first game of the year.
I think I might have as well.
And now
I
they're
don't
ranked.
remember.
Were they 24th or 25th?
25th this
25th.
week, and they're a good solid football team, and I'm going to go out there Saturday and watch them again, and 6-0 with my man Sonny Dykes.
He gets a lot of credit.
He deserves it. I think he's got he's provided leadership for this type of thing to happen. And
But like you mentioned a couple of guys, somebody's done a good job at SMU of pinpointing that guy's got talent and he might be available.
well, the Richard McBride I was talking about,
Yeah.
who was at Auburn, he called 30 Division I teams. No one wanted him. He didn't get to SMU until August.
Is that right?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, sure, we got a need there. Come on in. And now he's starting.
So much
place
for
where they're
that.
starting.
So much for my theory that they went out and found him. He was after 30 teams. He's like, anybody?
Well,
Maybe they're monitoring
he's
the
the one and
transfer
only.
portal. That's what they're doing.
That's right.
They have a good transfer portal coach at SMU.
In 3 weeks, they have to go back to back to Houston and Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a tough test, and then they end their season. At least it's at home against a Tulane team that might be
the
challenging
best.
for the division.
Yeah.
In that one, but those back-to-back road games against two tough teams is going to
Houston's,
really make
I
their
thought
season.
Houston's season was done. They lost their
Yeah, me
quarterback,
too.
Derek King, to redshirt, and they went up and thumped what I thought was a good North Texas team. So
They're challenged defensively in North Texas, but yeah, they looked really, really good
Yeah.
on Saturday.
I'm kind of glad SMU's back.
I am too. I
Oh,
kinda like it.
absolutely.
I used to. There was a time being a Fort Worth boy, I hated SMU.
Of course.
But I'm on the bandwagon.
And
like
we'll be covering SMU.
absolutely.
We are. I mean,
We're shifting all of our
We're-
TCU focus on
we're
SMU. Is that what
PressBox
we're
D,
saying? Can you imagine?
DFW. We're
Unsubscribe. We got SMU covered in addition to TCU. Don't
That's
worry,
right.
college football fans.
Right.
That's right. So go SMU.
Go SMU and go to the state fair. It started last week, but I got bad news. Big Tex is a big embarrassment.
Oh no. Oh, here we go.
Wits End is sponsored this week by Kleinsmith Law Firm. This is a national trial firm specializing in elder abuse since 1992, the largest law firm in the country dedicated solely to the prosecution of elder abuse cases. Nursing home abuse, neglect, just have somebody or know of somebody who they don't think their loved one's being treated right in a nursing home, you need to call the good folks at Kleinsmith Law Firm. Millions of dollars have already been recovered. It's totally confidential, and you only pay if they win your case. Skilled attorneys will fight for your loved one at Kleinsmith Law Firm. Call Curtis. Tell him you heard about him on the good old PressBox DFW Live podcast. 877-976-8411, 877-976-8411, or check them out at fightingelderabuse.com. That is Kleinsmith Law Firm.
Yeah, that's an important issue too.
Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed.
We all know that somebody who, if it's not us, we know somebody of
Yes,
somebody.
yeah.
And the good folks to help out a bad
Yeah.
problem. Before I get to Big Tex real quick, and this is not sports, this is very relevant here in DFW. You guys familiar with the Amber Geiger case, right?
I am.
So, 31-year-old police officer, she works a 11-hour shift, comes home to her apartment complex, and somehow, some way, parks on the 4th floor when she really lived on the 3rd floor, okay? Gets confused somehow, thinks she's on her floor. Walks to her apartment, what she thinks is her apartment door, and the door is ajar. It's not open, but it's not locked. It's not closed. Opens the door, sees a black shadowy figure and shoots and kills the resident of that apartment. It wasn't her apartment. She gets charged with manslaughter. The grand jury says that's not manslaughter, that's murder. So she goes on trial. And this morning, as we speak to you on Tuesday at noon, this morning I was shocked. The jury deliberated 4 hours and found Amber Geiger guilty of murder.
Is that all it was?
Did this
4
guy?
hours?
Yeah.
No, it surprised me.
Surprised you?
Yes, it did.
It did me. Gil, what'd you think? What'd you expect to happen in this case?
Oh, I thought that she'd be found guilty of a lesser charge.
Me too.
Yeah, I did too.
And I still
Some sort of
think that was
manslaughter
right
charge.
because, and again, I'm no legal expert, but murder is premeditated and you plan out to kill a specific person in a specific way, correct?
Well, I'm not.
Isn't that the definition of murder?
I only play a lawyer on Facebook.
Same.
I don't know what the criteria is for that charge, but it certainly was none of those things.
No.
You're right. There was no
I mean-
premeditation. She did not intend to
Right.
to kill him at any point, kill anybody. at
She
any
intended to
point.
kill him when she said, I'm in my apartment, there's an intruder, and I fear for my life. When she pulled the trigger, she admitted, I meant to kill that person.
Right.
But she didn't wake up and go, I'm going to kill somebody
No,
today.
no.
But the part that where she totally lost me, the Amber Geiger, the police officer. She's a trained police officer. She's, 11 years on the force. They're paid and trained to observe situations and assess situations. Number two, she's gone to de-escalation courses over and over and over. So when she walks into what she thinks is her apartment, I don't know if you guys have seen the picture. There's a bright red floor mat outside his front door. I mean, bright red, like brighter than Doak Walker's bobblehead there right in front of your computer. And she didn't have one in front of hers. Now, as a police officer, wouldn't you go, whoa, this is not my door. How did that get past you?
I don't know.
That's what
Well,
lost
they claimed that the equipment she had on might have obscured her look down when she looked, because they had that,
Yeah.
got that walkie-talkie, all that other
Right.
paraphernalia. And that was what the defense attorney said.
There's the red mat. Thank you, Jiggy, for finding that. So let's go with, okay, she didn't see the red mat. But then it's not just us bozos. It's a trained police officer. You see the door ajar, you open the door, and you see a shadowy figure.
Yeah.
Are you trained just to shoot and ask who it was later? Or would you go, I need some backup, somebody's in my apartment? That's where she lost me on 2 counts.
Well,
That's why I wasn't, when she said it was a pure accident, I thought I was in my apartment, I didn't mean to kill him. That just, she lost me there. And I think it was the right verdict today. I think she was guilty she was responsible definitely for his murder. I don't think it was murder, but I think it should have been manslaughter. But I am glad she was not guilty because it wasn't just, her gun didn't just go off accidentally. It wasn't an accident.
No. I mean, you're right as far as the training is concerned, because I look at that situation. I think, well, I put myself in her shoes. What would I do? Well, I'm not exactly her because I'm not a trained professional.
Her shoes should be better than your shoes.
Should be.
Right.
Now, as far as the red mat and everything else, I drove over here unconsciously. I walked in this door.
It's not real safe, but okay.
I probably wouldn't have any idea if something had changed when I walked in this hallway here and came down here. Because
What if there was a bright red mat in front of the door that's never been there before?
I don't know if I'd have noticed it. I don't know.
Then
if
you're not going to be a police officer.
I
You're going to be
didn't-
a dorky podcast.
And there's a
host.
reason I'm not a police officer for sure.
No, there's no doubt. Anyway, let me implore Dallas to do something though, because I know when the judge this morning read the verdict, there was applause in the courtroom, and the judge had to say none of that. Outside, the prosecutors got this standing ovation. There's already reports of people celebrating in the streets. Let's be better than just to look at it as a black and white issue and say,
You don't think the jury was considering what the reaction would be when they
hope
were
not.
deciding?
There were reports
I
that
think
they
that's
had
naive.
about 3 or 4 times as many bailiffs as they normally would, and there were reports
get
that
that.
some of them were tactical forces.
but while I agree with the decision, I think justice has been served on some level. It just nauseates me that there were people on both sides that will just draw not even know about the facts of the case, but say,
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
was a black victim shot by a white police officer, and she's guilty. Let's go celebrate in the streets. Let's be better than that, Dallas. Can we?
There are certainly no winners in this deal.
Absolutely
I mean,
not. Absolutely not.
Man
Good
lost
point.
his life, and she's lost her life
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah.
And
Good point. All right. Big day in the courtroom. And then down a little bit, the street from the courtroom is a place called Fair Park. I don't live far from there. And that's where they hold a little event annually called the State Fair of Texas. We all take a lot of pride in that. You guys go to the fair still? Or is that out of your realm?
Sure.
I've been.
When's the last time you went to the fair, Mr. Sure?
Well, I like to go see the shrunken heads and
They don't have shrunken
They don't have that
heads. No,
still?
it's not the witch doctor tour.
I think I've been 3 times.
All right. Well, some of us go to the fair a lot that have state pride. And what you'll find, of course, at the beginning, at the entrance, the centerpiece of the fair is I don't even know how tall he is, 60-footish mannequin known as Big Tex. You familiar?
Absolutely.
Sure.
So let's take a look at some of Big Tex through the years. So this is how he looked. I guess this is back in the 50s.
Creepy.
Back when he wore Lee jeans, and he's always got his hand up and his other arm kind of out, like
Right.
welcoming visitors.
Right.
And it's always, howdy, folks. Welcome
Right.
to the State Fair. Okay,
a great
you guys are familiar.
a great tradition.
So that looked a little bit weird, but that's back in the 50s and 60s. So we did not technology. Let's look at the next edition of Big
Ooh.
Tex.
It's got a sponsor.
He's Dickies is now on board. He's still
Multiple
got the same
sponsors.
look, and he's been working out. He's got some big deltoids on him. This was like in the 70s and 80s.
Exploiting Big Tex.
And then let's go to the next evolution of Big Tex, because we had some problems. And he caught on fire. Now, why are we laughing at Big Tex on fire?
It's a suicide attempt.
It was not suicide. This was,
He
I
didn't
was
like
on the
the
radio
outfit.
this day. This had to be like 2011 or 12, and Big Tex, something happened with his wiring. You know, his mouth moves and he can move his arm. So
he appears to have maintained a good attitude.
I
by
think
the
that might have been
countenance there.
doctored. I don't know if he really was that happy.
Still had a smile on his face, it appears to me.
So now he's been reincarnated as the newest Big Tex, and I want you guys to, hope you're sitting down, take a deep breath, because this is now the face of what we're supposed to invoke state pride in us. Give it to us, Big Tex. Okay. Am I the only one troubled by this face?
Yeah.
It's like somebody took Tommy Lee Jones and stretched him out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, is he being held at gunpoint, or is he about to be accused of a Me Too moment? I mean, something is wrong with that face, right?
He's worried that he might burst into flames again.
He's still,
Possibly.
He's still smoldering.
You are right, though. This is a totally different Big Tex.
Again, I love the fair. It's always, when you go to the fair, what do? All right, if we get lost, I'll meet you at Big Tex. It's like a Texas tradition. But that face creeps me out, and I want to fix it today. So I've got a couple of...
At least he doesn't have a mustache.
This is very true. You're setting the bar low, but he does not. So here are a couple guys who I think, to me, if these guys' faces were on Big Tex, would be in better shape.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Here's option number one.
Oh, no.
Okay, now doesn't
No.
You don't think Matthew McConaughey is Texan these days?
He's Texas, as in University of.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's representative of Texas.
You'd rather have
I'd rather have
Big Tex with a wedgie or something going on.
I'd rather have
time.
Big Tex sitting outside.
All right.
in a
Option
van
number
out in the
2.
park.
How about
Yeah.
Big Tex?
Yes.
What about
Not bad.
What about Nolan as Big Tex?
Not bad.
And I almost
Yes.
think we should almost do this rotating. Like this year's Big Tex will be, and it'll be like Nolan Ryan.
I mean-
and they could doctor maybe wear a Rangers cap and have a bloody face.
He's certainly more symbolic than Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, you'd rather have Nolan more than what we have now, which is
Yes.
creepy face.
Even blood drip chin Nolan.
This is who I think should actually be Big Tex's face from now on. That's Big Tex. More even Tex than Nolan Ryan. Come on, he's been playing that guitar, and his hair was that long when he was born. He came out of the
Yeah.
womb with that hat on.
Yeah.
And nothing against Willie Nelson. I love Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson,
But
great. But does he exemplify? Is he an exemplar of Texas rural agricultural ranching roots?
1,000%. He holds a picnic out in the middle of nowhere every year.
He
sends out
founded Farm Aid.
He founded Farm Aid,
Oh.
my sources just told me. All right, Gil, you got to choose one. Who do you want? Or you can choose what the current Big Tex with a creepy face. Who do you want on as Big Tex?
Nolan.
You want Nolan? All right, what do you got, John?
Yeah, Nolan.
Ziggy?
Willie.
I think Willie, too. All right.
Oh.
I'm going to start a petition to get rid of creepy face and put in pigtails and cowboy hat, Willie Nelson for Big Tex. All right, next up, we got to get up on out of here. It's the walk-off time to round the bases. Let's head for home. Walk Off this week is brought to you by the good folks at Three Parrots Taco Shop. I know, John.
They are good folks.
You've
too.
been to this restaurant a couple times. I've been to this one a couple times. Best tacos in DFW?
There are the best tacos in DFW and the best service in DFW. They're in Benbrook.
Yeah, they are in Benbrook.
Now that's a website.
That is a really cool website.
That is a good website.
They got Baja tacos, Baja burritos, awesome fish tacos I've had. They got smoked brisket, chipotle chicken, and homemade sides. Like if you want salsa and queso, and they got that mojo sauce. It's all fresh, homemade. It's a really cool place. Great art on the wall. They play great music on the speakers. It's got like a summer vibe all year long. And it's in Benbrook, as John said.
Good
80s
cold beer. Good cold
And
beer.
of course, they have good
Beer
cold
drinking
beer.
parrots, it looks like.
Absolutely.
right.
Beer drinking parrots. 8737 Benbrook Boulevard. That's Highway 377 to us locals. 8737 Benbrook Boulevard in Benbrook. 817-249-8226. 817-249-8226. Tell them Robert over there that you heard about him on the DFW Live, PressBox DFW Live podcast. Tell Robert over there, go to the website. It's the number 3 Parrots Taco Shop.
I've even used them for catering once.
Or, as my
And
sources tell me, you can use it for catering.
They were fantastic.
Yep. So check out 3 Parrots. Thanks to those good
Anybody
folks.
else who's interested in being a part of our PressBox DFW Live crew,
Absolutely.
please drop me a line at gleberton at PressBoxDFW.com, and we'll hook you up with our ad representatives.
Absolutely.
And you can be a part of our weekly podcast.
Our numbers are
we
growing.
are definitely for sale.
Yes,
I mean, our space for sale.
There's space for rent. Our numbers are growing. Our audience is growing. Thanks to you guys for sharing and for watching and probably watching, streaming us right now. Woody's probably over there in Fort Worth.
They are. I can see them
So
watching
shout
now.
out to those guys. What's going on the website this week, Gil? What do we
Well,
got?
lots of good reaction on the Cowboys' loss to the Saints. You and Matt Mosley had some great post-game commentary. Whether you agree with all of it or not,
Yeah, Mosley was
but
on
still-
it. That's a good column he wrote.
but yeah, it was good. I enjoyed both of them. John Henry had a great story this past week that probably might have escaped notice because everybody sees the black and white picture and says, "Oh, what's that about?"
You know what they say? Everybody sees the black and white picture and goes, "What's John Henry writing today?" He's the king of the black and white photo.
You gotta read it.
It's a good story, though,
You gotta
as
read it.
always.
It was perfect, and it tied into Saturday's game perfectly. It talked a lot about the history of the teams and how they, how TCU ended up playing Kansas, and it was just it was a good read. It's one of the best things we had all week, and it's football season, people, and we've got a lot of good football stories on there, and now that the Mavericks are gearing back up, and the local colleges will be starting to do some basketball too.
We talked some SMU earlier today. TCU throttles Kansas, got some revenge from last year.
Yeah, played real well.
Did they fix anything? How's the rift going? And how's TCU?
They're fine.
Everything's good?
Yeah, he got his message across.
Kumbaya now over in Fort Worth?
No. He got his message across. He got full and complete attention from coaches and players alike.
And media. He snapped us into attention too. All right, there you go. It's PressBox DFW Live. Read us, PressBoxDFW.com. Every day and watch or listen to us right here every Tuesday. For Gil Leberton, for John Henry, I'm Richie Witt, and we'll see you guys in the Press Box, DFW.